Hi, team. I'm Fitz Koehler.
And I'm Rudy Novotny.
And we are Team Noisy.
Hey, everybody.
We are your hosts of the Big Sur Marathon Show and your race announcers from this weekend's Big Sur Marathon. It was
what
fun.
an incredible weekend. It was just amazing. Can't wait to talk to you about it, give you some of the highlights, and talk to our race director.
That's right. He is the Big Sur of the Big Sur Marathon. We love him. We think he's Best Race Director on the Planet Award for this year, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Great job after 3 years.
After 3 years, yeah. And he's been doing it forever. Best guy, Doug Thurston.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. How's it going, Doug? Have you gotten any sleep?
I got a little bit, yeah. I'm still in sleep deficit, though, as are many of our runners and announcers.
Oh, you know what? I've caught up.
Have you?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As soon as you cut us loose, you're like, go ahead. I got some sleep.
I think I slept like 13, 14 hours.
Hey, but listen, I would give up all the sleep in the world to be back at your start and finish lines because nothing makes me happier.
Well, we don't have to wait 1,090 days now. We just have to wait 363 or something like that. It's April 30th next year. So I still have event brain, so I can't do the math, but it's a lot less than 1,090. I can tell you that.
Yeah, too many. So, hey, listen, as a special surprise for everybody, I made a recap video. Would you like to watch it?
Oh, please.
Yeah, we're going to see all the fun we had this weekend, or at least some of the fun. And here we go. I didn't take the pictures, but I whipped up the video. I get that credit,
You
right?
worked hard. Good
Editing,
job.
production. Here we go. Magical.
Makes me want to start running.
Really.
I know.
Really. What an amazing 45-second snippet. Anybody who's watching and thinking about next year is already ready to get registered.
Yeah, it's breathtaking. And here's the deal. We drove it yesterday. Holy mackerel. Everything about the course is just holy mackerel. Does it look challenging? Holy mackerel, it does. But is it beautiful? I mean, every time you take another turn, it just takes your breath away. Did you personally design the course, Doug? I mean, did you go put all the bridges out there and all the manicure, all the landscaping and stuff?
All those bridges from the 1930s?
Yeah.
I did not. No.
I would like to give you credit for all that. Yeah, it's an absolute spectacular course. And listen, our audience is getting the gist already. So this is a time for you guys to use the comment section wherever you are. Share your feedback, share your memories, ask questions of the brilliant man right there or of the noisy people over here. So yeah, Janet, wow. The whole thing is wow. Yeah, Lynette, she drove it today. Yeah, it's a much harder thing to run it than it is to drive it.
Yes. But driving it is daunting.
That's right.
You better be paying attention.
It's very, very hard to do that. So, Doug, what was your favorite part of the weekend?
I think just seeing so many smiles, so many happy people, glad that we're back, enjoying what for many was their first time here, and for many more, their first time here in 3 years or more. We have, some people did it 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 years ago and they were back. And just seeing, I don't know, just feeling that pride and that happiness and that joy in my heart from seeing people running and the volunteers helping, and just that tremendous feeling that we're back.
Yeah, finally.
Right. Doug, do we have numbers on how many people were doing their first Big Sur? At least, I know we had a lot of returners and legacies, and as you said, people have done it many, many times. Any idea how many people were in Monterey and Carmel for the first time?
No.
Thank you.
Typically in the marathon, it's typically in the 70 to 80% people are doing the Big Sur marathon for the first time.
Right.
Some of those may have done a shorter event and worked their way up to the marathon. That percentage is lower as you go down in distance. So, we have 6 different races, but I'd say at least half the entire field of close to 10,000 people, this was their first time to run a Big Sur marathon event. That's just
okay. I got it.
Kind of extrapolating those numbers a little bit, but
right.
I'd feel pretty confident that it's probably at least half the people have never done one of our races before.
So here's the other thing that I love at the finish line, where we get not only everyone's names and then their hometowns, is we have not only 50 states represented. In a lot of the races we announced, we have 50 states represented, and you get one from Alaska and one from North Dakota. I felt like almost everybody was from somewhere else. We certainly had a bunch of Californians, but the amount of Alaskans that showed up and folks from Utah and Georgia and Florida. I mean, it just, do you know what percentage of our athletes are from out of state?
Can you guys stop asking me such hard questions?
Hold on. Let me get that one for you, Doug.
A lot.
No.
I'm just going to kind of guess based on historical figures. Okay. So you'll have to cut me a little slack on this, because I don't have all those demographics right at the tip of my fingers. They were in your electronic race program.
I think they're in my binder. Yeah.
They're in your binder, and they're in the electronic race program we sent out to everybody. But it's about 65 to 75% are from California. And then our next biggest states are usually our contiguous states of, Arizona, Nevada, maybe Oregon. And then you've got your traditional large runner population states of Texas, Florida, and New York. So again, roughly 25%, 30% are from outside of California.
Now, we also had a bunch of folks from Sweden. Did you notice that?
I did meet some folks from Sweden, yes.
There was a good group of Swedes, which I enjoyed, and I tried. So this is one of the things we try to connect with all the athletes. And when I worked in Sweden many years ago, I actually traveled through Scandinavia, and I always learned when I got to a new country to say hello, excuse me, how much, where's the bathroom, and I love you. And I gave my best Swedish I love you to all of those people at the finish line. I'm not sure if I got it right or not, but if they're watching, that's the sentiment I was trying to relay.
But overall, we had all 50 states plus Washington, D.C., and a lot of foreign countries. Didn't it total up to about 20, Doug, more or less?
I think it was a few more than that. Yeah.
Okay.
Fewer than we typically have, because remember that when people began entering last fall, late last summer, August, September, the ability to travel for some countries was still questionable.
Oh, right.
So, and you had to make a commitment that early. Canada still had some border restrictions. Canada and Mexico are our 2 largest countries that participate in the event typically. And I know our numbers were lower than they have been for Canadians. I'm not quite sure on Mexicans, but I know we had fewer Canadians than we've had in the past. But yeah, we may have had half a dozen fewer countries than we've had in the past, but still close to 25 or 30.
Good amount. Okay, so we have some comments. This is Lynette Merkel. It says first marathon in 25 and a half years. Well, that's a big gap. Lottery. This marathon shows her. That sounds
great. I love that one.
And then we have Dawn. Oh, say the last name, Rudy. Go for it.
That's Don Bianco Spoljaric.
All right. All right. My first Big Sur was my 25th marathon. Flew in from Texas. The race was phenomenal, extremely organized. That's his fault. Challenging. And thanks for ordering up a picture perfect weather day. Very grateful for this opportunity.
One of our Texans.
One of our Texans. And then, oh, look, I think I did something wrong. Here we go. Liz Mosley had the best time with my relay teammates who had never run the course before. Fitz, I took off my cap and was waving it as I approached the finish line. No, I did. I'm sorry. You acknowledged me, but called out my teammate's name. I'm so sorry. That's the name they gave me, Liz. And you know what happens is it becomes alphabet soup in my head on race day. I'm so sorry. But you, Liz Mosley, I knew it was you. And I'm so happy for you. 2-time cancer survivor. And boy, is she living large. It's interesting. Some people survive and then they just sputter along. And then some people survive and then they go crush it. She's one of those. We've got Rudy. Thanks for making.
Andrew Ware. Andrew Ware is probably one of the most incredible ambassadors for Big Sur without being an ambassador. He ran his first one. And then yesterday he ran number 100 his first marathon was at Big Sur and his 100th marathon was at Big Sur. He was so excited. So great to have you there, Andrew.
And wasn't he a pacer?
And he was a 3:30 pacer. Yeah, not too shabby.
That's incredible. That's 8-minute miles.
Yep.
On a very challenging course.
Very impressive. Yeah.
Okay.
Great job.
Richard.
So, Doug, how did you feel? Now Fitz is at one point. I'm at the start of the marathon. I get shuttled back and I'm at the finish. So there's a lot that in between that Fitz and I missed. How did everything seem to roll out? I know you weren't in all places as well, but what was the general, how did it seemed like everything was just like clockwork. How was it from a race director's point of view?
Well, we do have 6 races all going on at the same time. So all on the same road.
So no problem.
Yeah. We may be one of the most complicated marathons in the country as far as what all is happening.
Sure. That
we have to bus people to we bus people to 6 different starting lines, including the relay. It's pretty complicated, but I'm still getting feedback and reports. But from the initial reports, everything went off pretty much as planned. There's always a little adjustment here, a little tweak there, something that didn't quite come out the way you wanted it to ideally. But overall, yes, I think particularly for a race committee that perhaps suffered from a little event atrophy after more than 1,000 days, we're very pleased with how everything came out. And we hope that the runners enjoyed their experience and the volunteers as well. We couldn't do it without the 2,000 plus volunteers.
Now, Doug, I announced the start of the 5K and the 12K. Did you hear the rumor that we had the most fun start line of the morning?
I didn't hear that. And I know it's probably always a toss-up, Fitz, between your 12K, 5K start and the final corral of the marathon start.
Good call, Doug. Good call. That final corral is party central, and there's a lot of fun going on. Thank you.
So this is always the moment of the shorter races. I say, who's doing the 5K? And hundreds of people scream. And then who's doing the 12K? And hundreds of people scream. And then I say, who's super happy not to be running a full marathon today? And the whole crowd loses their mind. It's I'm not sure why.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure why. Yeah. But we have a great time over there. We certainly do. So we've got Glenn Reese, been loving this race this entire millennium. 21 Big Sur marathons. Oh, man.
Big time.
That's
Glenn's a local runner. I see him often when I'm out running in Monterey and Pacific Grove, and sometimes we stop and chat about life and the race and things like that. So we have so many local longtime supporters, whether they've been volunteers, runners, both. Some people do both. Glenn does both. He volunteers at the expo and then comes out and runs the race. over the weekend. He was at our Monterey Bay Half Marathon registration booth, pulling a shift there as we opened registration for our event in November. So it's great to have the support of the local running community for sure.
Well, you definitely do. They're out in top form the whole
Yeah,
weekend. And look, Andrew Ware,
the-
24 consecutive Big Sirs.
Oh, right. There's the next big question on.
Big question.
yeah, there
Bill
we go.
Taylor. Hi, Bill. When does the lottery open up for 23, Doug Thurston?
We'll be announcing our 2023 registration plans and dates late July. So nothing will open earlier than August.
Okay.
So stay tuned. I know people want to know how many entries will be in the random drawing, how many will be in VIP and Boston to Big Sur and charity and youth fitness, et cetera, et cetera. So we will evaluate the different programs this year over the next few months and put a plan in place over the summer to open up in August with the other 5 or potentially 6 races, including the Saturday 3K, which we hope to bring back next year. They usually open a month or two after we kind of get through most of the marathon registration programs. And so probably August for the marathon, and then, mid-September for the other distances is a rough guess, but stay tuned to follow us on social media, and be sure if you've run the race, then you're in our database. If you haven't and would like to get more information, you can sign up to be on our database at the bottom of the homepage at bigsurmarathon.org.
So I think it's important to remind people that while there's a lottery for the marathon, if you register right away for the shorter distances, it's pretty easy to get in if you register fairly quickly, correct?
Yeah, the shorter distances don't fill up in hours or days, hours, or minutes like the marathon used to before we developed this other protocol. We still have some first come, first serve options for the marathon for those who just want to get in, either no matter what the cost, or if they want to support one of the other programs like our charity partners or our youth fitness, or they want to be in the VIP category and get the perks of the VIP, which some people say it's well worth the extra cost,
Right.
Or perhaps want to take on the Boston to Big Sur challenge, because all those other categories are first come, first serve.
Wow. You know what? One of the things that I thought was a highlight, and as you mentioned, all these categories, this was the first year that we had that massive white food tent behind our stage. And I love the fact that the VIP folks and the Boston, the Big Sirs, and whoever else was in there all intermingling. I thought it was genius, really.
Marathon tours. That's the other one of the other options. There's a half a dozen different ways, and thanks for reminding me, Fitz, that Marathon Tours has special packages available that include a race entry and include special busing to the start and include admittance into this premium tent that we had at the finish line for VIP, Boston to Big Sur, and Marathon Tours.
Yeah.
Now, I apologize for asking you for another number, but I will. Marathon Tours, didn't they have about 150 people or somewhere in that range, Doug? Do you know?
I do know that one, and it's more like 90.
Okay.
I think they had 80 marathoners and 10 Boston to Big Sur folks.
Okay.
Wow.
Hey, did everybody that wanted to get into Boston to Big Sur get in this year?
I say yes
we had
and
almost
no.
300. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I say yes and no because eventually we closed that category. So potentially, after the category closed, but it didn't fill to its normal number.
Okay.
But we can't just leave it open-ended for until it does, because we need to order the supplies and start making plans based on a finite number of participants. So yeah, the B2B entry number was lower because I think as those who follow the Boston Marathon closely know, the April 22 Boston Marathon registration had lower demand than it's had in previous pre-COVID editions of the Boston Marathon. Every time qualifier got in, and probably because, COVID was still happening, is still happening, and they had, a Boston Marathon special edition last October.
So we're blaming the Boston Marathon.
That's right. That's right.
Well,
plus,
every race had to do whatever they could to survive, right? And so they had a race last October on Indigenous Peoples Day, and then they had the marathon 6 months later. So that probably put a little bit of pressure on the demand for entries. But again, for 2023, we anticipate back to the usual demand for Boston to Big Sur, and the two races are 13 days apart in 2023. Right.
Okay. So at this point, I want to ask all of our viewers, use a comment section. Tell us which race you ran this weekend and what you loved most about it. We want to hear from you. What was your favorite memory? So distance and favorite memory. We've got a couple here. Stephen Brewer, look forward to running Big Sur next year for the 4th time. He's also from Texas. Yeehaw, Stephen. And then Daniel Varon, congratulations. This was my 38th marathon and first Big Sur. It was by far the most amazing, wonderful I ever run.
Keep
much
reading.
Better than the 6 majors.
Woo!
No duh. Total duh. I'm from Mexico, but I felt like I was home.
Nice.
That's
Nice
like
comment.
part of the family when they come out, right, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, that's very,
Or maybe
that's very, we're very honored with people's reactions to the event.
Yeah, I think it's a family affair. We love the Blue Jackets, and I think everyone just gets welcomed so warmly. I'm hoping you can hear me. Doug, can you hear me well?
I can. You temporarily froze to me, but now your guys are okay.
Okay. We've got Andrew Catilla. He ran the marathon, always a challenge. We love him. He ran with, he didn't run with Bill Capella, but they hung together. I remember you. I love this girl. Akanshka. We practiced. Galati ran her first in-person race, the 12K, and it was everything. Yes, it was.
And you two got a great picture together.
No, that's Araceli. But
okay.
I think maybe we did take a picture. Maybe she took it. She has to share it with me. Akanshka. We were, I'm sorry, I'm butchering it again, but I love her. Beautiful smile. Sweet girl. And Lynette Merkel, 26.2, the amazing views and the amazing support group on Steve Sands' Facebook page. All right.
That's cool.
I like that.
Are you guys familiar with Steve Sands and his unofficial fan page?
No.
I think so.
Well, I'll explain it briefly because there's probably some other listeners who follow that or would like to follow it for 2023. So Steve Sands is one of our grizzled vets. So he's been, he unfortunately was not able to finish Sunday. So he has done 34, but he had some physical issues going into the race. He anticipated that it was going to be a real challenge, but each year he sets up what we call our unofficial fan page. And we call it unofficial, not that it's an official fan page, but it's not the official Big Sur Marathon Facebook page. So it's a chance for fans to just chat amongst themselves, to ask questions about what their experiences have been at the race, and get lots of kind of insider advice from, if you've not done it before, you might say, for example, some of the questions, these are topics that we wouldn't normally discuss on the official Facebook page where it's more instructional and informative. This is more about feelings than facts, so to speak. Like, what are you going to wear at the race? And, what do people do with this, or how do you make sure that you don't oversleep the morning of the race? And where's a good restaurant to eat at on Friday? I'm staying in town for a week. Where else should I go? And what are the must-sees in Monterey? And what should I do when I'm in San Francisco for 3 days? So it's that great kind of tourist and community advice, and it's a wonderful resource. I monitor it only in the background just to make sure that that there are not too many inaccurate facts given out, right? Because as those who do the race know, close to the race, we put out a pretty good chunk of information. And, and of course, it's official information, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes people put information on the fan page that is, a little not exactly up to date. Perhaps they may be misremembering or just their interpretation of something. But usually I let it go because I know that hopefully people will read the official information or go to the official website, and it's all good. We're all one big happy family. And then Steve Sands also, because he's run the race 35 times, will post kind of mile by mile tips and advice, and others will chime in. Yes, I've done it 10 times. Here's what you need to know about mile 18, and here's what you need to know about mile 6. And so it's a great forum for the community.
That sounds really, really fun. It's nice to have a little friendship. So listen, you mentioned the cows.
Yeah,
and,
that's a great comment.
Okay,
right?
So I'm sorry, you didn't mention cows. She did. Lynette Merkel mentioned the cows on the course. So at the pre-race show, we talked about the no loitering signs out in the middle of nowhere, which makes no sense, as if anybody on earth would go loiter in the middle of nowhere. So Team Noisy, being the total shysters, ne'er-do-wells that we are, hooligans, we went and we totally loitered again. So look, there's Rudy.
You loitered again loitering. This week? Okay.
Oh yeah, we loitered our tails off yesterday. Look at me. I'm just like so chill right there, just loitering. Come and get me, coppers.
It was hardcore loitering. Yeah.
We haven't loitered that hard in a very long time, but we felt challenged by these episodes.
It's been more than 1,000 days since you've loitered.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we didn't get caught, but if we would have, whatevs, because we're so tough. Okay.
I did not get the call to come bail you two out of jail for loitering.
No.
That would be so great, though. I would actually love being hauled away. Can you call Doug Thurston to come get us?
We know the owner of that property, and we work well with him. So
not anymore.
Yeah. Don't test us on that one, you two.
Not if he's watching this. Okay, so we've got here she is. Di Angelo. Yeah. Besides the views, my favorite part of the marathon is the strawberries at mile 23. Yummy. They were amazing. I held on to mine for 3 miles to eat after I finished. Big Sur is by far my favorite marathon. Did you grow those strawberries yourself, Doug?
Not myself, but I'm sure they're local. This is known as the strawberry capital of the world near here. There's fields and fields just exploding with those big, fat, juicy strawberries that people have been sharing and posting pictures of. So I don't personally have a strawberry field at home, but I have enjoyed those strawberries as well.
But those strawberries are insane. Like you said, they're huge and they're juicy. And I mean, I'm in San Diego and we don't get anything like that. Not even close.
There's like I said, the fields just north of here in Watsonville and Castroville and parts of Monterey County are loaded with strawberries, particularly this time of the year. And there's one large company here called Giant Berry Company, and they're appropriately named.
Yeah.
Fitz, can you go back to one of the comments from Carmela Cuva?
I can. This one?
Yeah. So Carmela is a local runner and just a joy to be around. And she's run this race many times. She is overcoming some physical issues, but came to the expo, supported the event. And many of the local runners in particular were running with signs on their back. They're running for Carmela because they're so proud of her for her recovery. Her recovery's been amazing. And Carmela, we love you, and we definitely want to see you back in 2023 or whenever you're ready. You'll have a place. You always have a place here at the Big Sur Marathon family.
I love it. And what a beauty she is. Look at that smile.
Yeah, I saw at the start of the marathon, there were, I saw a bunch of Team Carmela.
Yeah.
And I, not being a local, I did not know the story. So as Doug said, Carmela, we're waiting for you and you're worth waiting for. So Thanks for all you do.
Okay, so oh boy, here we go. Yeah, we got a little Carmela. So there was actually a race that went on. So we had all these people who had a lot of fun and made magical memories and so forth, but we actually had some competition up there, and the weekend started off with a lot of talk about it's Brandon Bruce and Ben Bruce. Sorry, thank you, Adam Roach and Jordan Troph.
Yeah, we had some great races in both up at the front and for men and women. The Boston to Big Sur division, and as well as some outstanding performances in the age group.
Incredible performance.
Incredible course record, blow it out of the water type performances. So if I may, I'll talk a little bit about each of those.
Yeah, please.
So we knew going into the race, the men's race was going to be one to watch for sure. Jordan Troph, Tropf, because I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I think so. He won our last race in 2019, and he entered completely on his own. Never even contacted me. No one knew what he was. He was wearing a high bib number, as opposed to an elite athlete where we give a special number and we get their resume and know a little bit about them. And in 2019, he took off right from the start, dropped the 5-time champion, Adam Roach, and the 3-time champion, Michael Wardian, dropped them like a bad habit and never came back, and won the 2019 race by, I think it was a good 5+ minutes in 2:25 after he had done Boston. So we certainly knew about him and wanted to see if he planned to return this year, and he did. And he just had run Boston in
224 and change.
224 last Monday, a week from yesterday.
Incredible.
And then had his eye on that Boston to Big Sur combined time record of 4 hours and 51 minutes. That's held since 2014 by Michael Wardian. Then we had Ben Bruce. Now, Ben Bruce is the husband of professional runner Stephanie Bruce, also a professional runner in his own right, and one of the coaches and main stalwarts of the Hoka Northern Arizona Elite racing team, who also was running Boston to Big Sur for the first time. And so we saw his performance in Boston, which was 2:27, Jordan's performance in Boston, which is 2:24. And then you had local 5-time champion Adam Roach, who hadn't run Boston at all, but was also expecting his second child and might have had, his mind occupied.
And minute now, he says, yeah.
Might have had a little on his
hoping
mind.
that he didn't have his second child on race day or the day before. And then you never know who's going to show up and who's going to run well. So things held pretty much to form in that Jordan Troph took off, dropped everybody at the start. Adam soon slotted into second. Ben Bruce was feeling the effects of Boston, and he had told me ahead of time and commented on social media, I am not recovering like I hoped I would. So he kind of knew, probably like many marathoners, and maybe particularly for Boston to Big Sur marathoners, knew within the first few steps, I'm not going to be running a 2:27 or 2:25 or 2:26 that it would take to win and challenge Jordan, and maybe also challenge that Boston to Big Sur record. That wasn't going to happen for him. So Jordan went on to win in 2:26. Adam ended up third. One of our ambassadors, who I'm sorry that I'll look up his name, but it's drawing a blank on me. He passed Adam for second, and Ben Bruce ended up fourth. And maybe there's somebody online that can look real quick on our results page on our website. They can post the name of our second place finisher. I'm sorry. I'm still have event brain fog. So that was the men's race. Very exciting. Very exciting. And Rudy, you drove by them in your procession. You got to see all of them, and you got to see various levels of grimacing and
Oh, yeah.
forward leaning and powerful running.
Yeah, it was, and that's just such a fantastic opportunity for me to take the caravan back after the start and see, what's happening out in the field, and not only where the leaders are, but what they look like. And I've been racing long enough to know what I'm looking at, and I just have to say, and we love all the guys, all of our elites coming out. Again, Adam, 5-time winner, but Jordan really looked, even though he'd run Boston, he looked pretty fresh. He had good high knee lift. He was moving well. And so Doug, what was the final on that attempt to break Michael Wardian's Boston to Big Sur cumulative time?
So this is the combined time for the two races. And we knew going in what I had done the math based on Jeffrey Stern. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. My good friend, our good friend, Carl Brandt from San Diego, Movin' Shoes, former owner of Movin' Shoes, a specialty retail store in a legacy, a world-class guy and an amazing a fan of running and a real legend in specialty running store. So we knew going into the race what Jordan or Ben would need to run to break that record. And it was 2:26:33 is what Jordan would need to run as the combined time for both of the races was 4 hours, 51 minutes and 16 seconds. Now, Jordan had said he didn't care about the records. He just, wanted to enjoy his day, his second Big Sur marathon. He knew what to expect on the course because 2019 was his first time to run here. And so now he kind of knew what to expect. So he was just going to run the best he could. And if he got the record, he got the record. It turned out he was really close. He was very close. And he was within, I think the final number with some rounding is 16 seconds. He ended up 16 seconds off the total record for those two. But obviously the second fastest ever for those two, and an amazing accomplishment.
For two of the most difficult courses, it's pretty incredible to come so close and
6 days apart. Yeah. 6 days apart.
And this is what the people need to know: is Jordan Troph is not only super fast and athletic, but I love he comes through with his Navy tank top, and I'm all yay military. So he's a naval officer, and he's also an orthopedic surgery resident at Walter Reed. And he's kind of tall, dark, and handsome. So he's totally married. So sorry to everyone who's interested, but whoa, could he be any more perfect? What do you think is bad quality? Maybe he talks with food in his mouth or something, but he's so fantastic.
Well, I teased him privately, and now it will be less private.
Go for it.
Just among us, right? Michelangelo called and wants him back to model for him for some more statues, because that's kind of what he looks like, right? Yeah. So, and he's a great guy, and his wife Hannah also did Boston to Big Sur and enjoyed it as well. But I want to quickly move to the women's field, because one of our commenters earlier did break the Boston to Big Sur record. So she finished second overall. So our top two women were Ann Flower from Covington, Kentucky, right across the Ohio River from Cincinnati. And our second place runner was Thea Angelo. And Thea's watching and listening now. So Thea, I want to just congratulate you again, because she broke the female Boston to Big Sur record by a couple of minutes. We're not talking missing something by 16 seconds or something. So she ran under 6 hours combined time for both races. Her time in Big Sur was 3 hours and 49 seconds. And so her time in Boston was about 2:58-ish. I don't have all that information right at my fingertips, but she went under 3 hours for both. So, so Thea, congratulations to you for just blowing away the Boston to Big Sur record. And Thea, again, didn't contact me as an elite athlete or anything. So,
Wow.
which again, we don't have prize money. So it's not unusual for someone to just pay their own way and come in and run the race and win. It's not,
Hey,
it
listen.
happens more often than not, actually.
I
The
was gonna
the first time I ran it, I had a big long number, and
Yeah.
I didn't get any hotel room or
Yeah.
nothing. And
I was gonna say I don't even warn races I'm coming when I'm running. They're so surprised with my performance when I arrive there.
we don't let them know we're coming because they wouldn't let us
That's
in.
right. They were like, forget it. I'm a solid middle of the packer, folks, unless I'm at Boston.
So Doug, how about some of those other performances? You had mentioned
congrats.
age group.
You have
so
I'm going to try to go off memory on some of this, and I'm trying to look up some results on my phone. I can look them up on my computer, but then I would lose the screen and my eyes would be diverting all over, and they're already doing that now. So one I definitely know right offhand is, for the first time we had a woman 80 years old or over finish the marathon. First time in the 35-year history, and that's Hansi Rigney, who
Hansi
is a local runner. She holds age division records in here at many other marathons, Berlin, Boston, etc. She's ranked among the top finishers in her age group at just about any marathon that she does. So she ran, I believe it was 5 hours, Rudy. You might remember this too.
Yeah, I think it was right at 5 hours, Doug, if I remember correctly.
Right at 5 hours for Hansi. And, that is obviously a new 80 and over record, because just by finishing, she set an 80 and over record as well. One of our other age group records was another local runner, Peter Krause, who I believe set the new age record by 10 minutes in the male. I'm trying to look it up.
I think, Doug, I think it's 70 to 74. Yeah.
Or 75, 79.
Right, one of those two.
I'll try to find it while we're on. Maybe, again, Patty McCracken, I know you're there. Maybe you can go onto the website and look at the age group results and see where Peter finished, what age group Peter's in as well. Again, thank you for those friends that are
75
helping.
to 79.
75,
75, 79. Glenn would know, because he's knows Peter and is also a runner that's in one of the higher age groups. Let's put it that way. Then our last one, and again, I'm not going to find this so quickly, is I think it was in the female 60 to 64, right, Rudy?
Yes.
And again, I'm sorry. You guys keep asking me all these things that I wasn't prepared to talk about. But I'll find her name here in a minute, because she set the record in the female 60 to 64, but I believe by 16 minutes.
Right. 16 minutes.
And that was Elena Shminakina from Columbus, Ohio. And she ran, she's 60 years old, and she ran 3:29. Yeah. So she broke the record, by, I think, 16 minutes. Peter ran 4:33 for a 77-year-old gentleman. And then like we said, Hansi ran 5 hours for 80-year-old. Yeah, Peter 77 and 4:34. Thank you, Patty. Quick on the fingers there, Patty. Appreciate that. So there's I guess, this is an event for everyone, whether you're all the way at the front or right there trying to finish, before you get swept up in the time limit bus, right? But we do, even though it's a very challenging, hilly and windy course, people can run fast here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, this weirdo right next to me has his only 2 sub-3 hour marathons at Big Sur.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes, and one of them was
look up and say I did that.
I think one of them was in 1912. So
yeah, thanks. You're off a year or two, but you're
yeah,
close
he was
enough.
in 1987, the second year of the Big Sur Marathon,
Yeah,
was
87 and 88 were Magic
87
3.
88 were Rudy's sub 3 hour marathons.
And how short were your shorts?
They were really short.
Okay, just checking.
Hey, we had another. You weren't there to hear Peter. It was so much fun. Peter Krasa came up to me right after we were all done, and he honestly thought that we were kidding around with him. He really thought that
he didn't know he broke the record.
He thought Hugo was pulling his leg, and he
Mm-hmm.
said, no, really, come on. And he was as straight up on it. And when I told him, no, we're not going to kid about something like that, you really did it. He just, he's probably, his feet have not hit the ground yet.
Yeah.
And now another thing that came up, that we had so much fun with the relays, so many relay teams, and of course the We Be Crazies.
Yes, that's our friend Kentaro from Pittsburgh. He had, I think, 14 relay teams this year.
18.
14 different teams of 4 runners each. We limit the relay to 200 teams, and this one gentleman coordinated 14 of them himself, and they're runners from all over the country and even the world. I know he had a South African runner on one of his teams, etc. So he's created this family, this crazy family, you could say, because they go by that moniker, We Be Crazy, the We Be Crazies, and they're very noticeable in their bright blue singlets, blue and yellow singlets with We Be Crazies across the front. And some of them are very, very talented runners, and they take this seriously.
Oh, yeah.
They either sweep or come close to sweeping a lot of the awards categories, which is fun. The only awards we present are the marathon and the relay. That's all. Of the 6 races, only those 2 get recognized with awards. So that's fun. It's fun for the competitive side, and it's fun for the performance side, and those many runners who set a PR for the most pictures taken during a race.
Right. Well, you know what? And so we're doing the relay. We're doing the relay awards, and we just finished the women's open category, and we finished it up. And Hugo and We Be Crazies are celebrating. And Hugo says, "You guys did amazing, but I want to tell you something. Not one time has a relay team beaten our winner, male or female." And I went back and I looked. I looked at where we just had been. Yeah. And I came back and I said, "Hey, I think it was We Be Crazies number 2. It was the women's team, and they were celebrating." I said, "I want you to know something. Hugo's right. However, our women's winner ran 2:50:49. That's what Ann Flowers ran. The We Be Crazies winning team ran 2:50:50. 1 second. 1 second differential. So close.
Yes, it was. Ann's time was 2:49:49, so it might be 2:49 and 2:49:50 or something.
2:49:49. Okay, and they ran 2:49:50. Yeah, amazing, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that is. So I think you threw the challenge down for Kentaro to build a really all-star team to stay in front of the lead male and perhaps the lead female marathoner. So that's fun. It's fun to have these challenges. There's no prize money on the line here. So these are not the world championships. These are not the world marathon majors. This is the Big Sur Marathon. So there's just the chance to enjoy the beauty, and some just enjoy it a little faster than others. Others say, "Why rush? I want to hang out here for 5 or 6 hours."
So listen, we were talking about fun, and you mentioned family. We had a task at the finish line that one of our athletes was going to do a finish line proposal. So I have this on, you put it in my notes, so it's up there, and it was a man and a woman who I had never seen before. And I was like, oh, how are we going to find these people? So coordinated with Blue Jacket Megan O'Neill, and she grabbed a volunteer and sent this volunteer, Andrew. He might have been 16. He was so sweet. I sent him out on the course to look for Stephanie, I think it's Olfarski and Tim Madzi. And at some point, he waves his arm and I cue the music. He had requested the song Marry Me by, I think, Jason Derulo. Played it. And I had looked her up on social media because I thought this is going to be helpful to know what these people look like. And she was blonde, but no. Now she has blue hair. So anyways, I was like, I don't know who this person is, but they got about 20 feet past the finish line, and Tim dropped down on one knee, and she said yes. It was really sweet. It was, I know, so much fun. The music was playing. She had to, but it was really a magical moment. I brought them over to the finish line structure so he could reenact it down on that knee at the finish line. They took some pictures, and they're going to be Mr. and Mrs. Madzi soon.
Well, I think we're averaging at least one proposal.
Big Sur is a magical place, so magic happens left and right here. So that's a wonderful way to start a lifetime of magic together, as at the finish line of the Big Sur Marathon. Congratulations to them.
Absolutely. And a way to solidify your family as one that takes good care of themselves. As a fitness expert, I love people setting that precedence that this is who we are and this is what we do. And I expect that their children will come out and run the 3K and then the 5K, and their kids will be Big Sur marathoners too one day. But it's a real blessing to be a part of those special moments.
Yeah.
And of course, it's no surprise, and it's actually very well known that Big Sur, being point to point, is a very weather dependent course. What would you call yesterday in the in the history
Sunday.
Sunday? Man, time flies. As far as a weather day, I mean, it seemed like we had a lot of sun there. When I was caravanning back, the views were amazing. There was some fog offshore or some haze offshore, but it looked like, from the pictures I saw, a lot of it burned out.
Yeah, I think it was a typically atypical day in that one of the things we're known for is having kind of microclimates during that 26-mile stretch of the Central Coast of California. The start line was, I think, as warm as I'd seen it in my time here. It was in the low 50s to maybe 54, 55 at the start, which is nice for those because they come out really early. And I mean, it can be in the 30s or low 40s while you're waiting around after you've been dropped off early in the morning in the dark. So that was pleasant. But the wind was strong at certain points for sure. I know the climb up to Hurricane Point lived up to its name up at the top, and the 2-mile steady climb up to Hurricane Point certainly challenged runners. But then there were other sections that you were more protected from the wind. So it didn't get dramatically cold, although some sections were cool. It didn't get dramatically warm, but some sections were sunny. So I think most of the people got the challenge they were looking for, and the wind made most of the course as scenic as ever. Yes, there's some parts where you kind of ran into the fog and it was kind of dark, but that kind of added to the mystery and the sensory overload that this course can present, because again, you go through these different climates, which is amazing how the weather can change within a mile or two.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So besides the race, we had a bunch of other fun stuff this weekend. I thought our expo was a blast.
It was excellent.
And you know what? The overall mood, people are just so happy when they come to Monterey. They love to pose in front of that absurdly massive banner you have in front of the expo. I think that's you guys brought that out maybe 2018. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, Doug. People love that. They shop their tails off, and everybody had to go home with their gear, and the vendors did very well.
The selection of official merch was just absolutely huge, and it was being ravaged. I had to actually step away from my own personal safety.
Yeah, we have
give it.
there was many changes that we had to make organizationally
Sure.
to survive the pandemic, and one of them was to move more of the race outside of the operational capabilities of our staff, because our staff went from 7 to 2 during the pandemic, and now we added a part-timer, so we're at 2.5. So one of the parts of the race weekend that we had to move out of the office to a third party was our entire merchandise program. So it was their first time they're an experienced race merchandise company. They do the Philadelphia Marathon, several large triathlons, the Miami Marathon, etc., Broad Street Run in Philadelphia. So they know different running demographics from around the country, but it was their first time here, and I think they did a very, very good job. Sales were very strong, and they learned a lot about the Big Sur audience, which is different than the Miami Marathon audience or the Philadelphia Marathon audience, as one would expect. Some are more regional and urban, and some are more bucket list, etc. So yeah, they were very busy, and the overall expo, I think, went well. Again, it was under new management because it used to be done in-house, but we don't have the capacity to do it in-house now. But hopefully what the runners experienced was a pretty smooth operation between, the bib pickup. We had a new registration company. Again, we had just lots of things, just a checklist of things that were different than 2019. And I think that went well. The shirt distribution, the vendors, the clinics upstairs, including one by our own Fitz Koehler, who had a talk about My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and then signed books and autographs for at least 45 more minutes following her clinic. Our pasta dinner
that's where we're going to go.
At the Marriott across the street, went sold out status for 2 different seatings. And I think people really enjoyed that as well.
And and it was a great social experience. I mean, so many people, and the food was pretty good. I really enjoyed the food. But you were on fire, Doug Thurston. We walk in the room, and everybody's falling apart, laughing, and your dry wit, your sense of humor, and your elite sarcasm really just goes a long way. You shine in those moments. It was so much fun.
Well, it's fun for me. You might remember, Fitz and Rudy, that when we did our pre-race show last week, you mistakenly mentioned, don't worry about talking to Doug. He's going to be too busy.
That's right. I was just trying to hug you all to myself.
I love to meet the runners. I'm easy to find. I'm easy to spot at the expo, at the finish line, generally, pasta dinner, clinics, etc. And we want our runners to know, like Don Stickle and others, to know you're not a number on a spreadsheet. You're not, a number on an email or a name on an email. You're a real person, and we love that you're here, and we're honored that you chose our race. And we know it's not inexpensive. We know it's not easy to get into. We know coming to our community takes planning. It's not the largest airport in the world, and we don't have a lot of inexpensive hotel rooms and things. So we know we are a destination bucket list experience. That's not for everybody, but those who do choose it, we want to try to make their weekend as good as we can. And I'm just so honored and touched when people say yes, right? There's nearly 10,000 people that said, yes, okay, Big Sur Marathon, I've heard so much about you. And I can read a quote here that's like that, my friends or whatever, magazines, books, social media, rankings. I've heard all this about the Big Sur Marathon. I'm going to give it a try. And one of the most satisfying things is when you hear from someone after they're done that says, now I know what everybody's talking about.
Yeah, lived up to the expectations and surpassed them.
Yeah, and let me read you a couple of quotes, if I may. So here's a few quotes that were posted on social media. let's see, there are many places in this world you can run, but none will stir your soul like running the Big Sur Marathon. If you're a marathoner, you owe it to yourself. This race is anything but easy, but the amazing views of our beautiful California beaches make the run all worth the pain. Pain?
Oh yeah.
Oh, my quad, right?
Oh my quad.
Yeah. Oh my quads. Here's another one. Big Sur Marathon lived up to all the hype. Every single step had a stunning view. I loved running and catching up with at K8 Marlin and seeing so many at Bib Brave ambassadors on the course. I'm always impressed to see how much work goes into letting runners run 26.2 miles. The team behind Big BSIM events and Blistering Pace, our contractor team, did not disappoint. So we hear and receive comments like that, and they really touch us because we work hard so that you can play and enjoy your weekend on the Monterey Bay. And we're just so happy when people have a good experience here.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Before you go on, folks, we're going to wrap up soon. So if you have anything you'd like to add or you'd like to extend some thanks to Doug and his team, this is a good time to start using the comment section. Go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah, in regard to comments, I shared one with Fitz that I really loved yesterday when we were looking through it, and it was as simple as, if Big Sur is not on your bucket list, you don't deserve to have a bucket. That was classic, absolutely classic. So hey, Doug, what's up next for Big Sur International Marathon Foundation?
Well, we have two big projects that we're working on. One is the return of our Monterey Bay Half Marathon, which again has not been held for 2.5 years. It's coming up on November 13th. So we did a special early bird registration at the expo. I don't know the exact number, but I think it was close to 200 people signed up.
Wow,
we had a special prize, a special sock giveaway, and some things at the expo. Now registration for the Monterey Bay Half Marathon is open for Monterey County residents at a special price. And then on May 1st, it opens up to everybody else, also at a special price for a limited number of entries, just kind of an early bird discount for the Monterey Bay Half Marathon. So that is November 11th, 12th, and 13th, Veterans Day weekend. I remember Ashley from last week. Thank you, Ashley. Remember, she was so hopeful last week, and she came and knocked it out of the park. So I'm pleased to hear that it lived up to your dream, Ashley. So that's one project. So we catch our breath a little bit, take care of some post-race details, and then get right into planning for November. But also our organization, as part of our mandate to improve the health and fitness of our community, which is part of our mission statement for our nonprofit, is to build a new cross-country trail at a park only 2 miles from the marathon finish line. It's a regional park called Paula Corona, and it's a former golf course that's been converted into a park. And we're building a purpose-built cross-country trail for area high schools, middle schools, college, and even open and masters runners. So we've raised the money to build the trail thanks to some very generous donors. And the bulldozers are going to be moving in the next couple of months to build the trail over the summer. So that will be in place this fall. So two big projects as we survive the pandemic and thrive with the support of runners like Sarah Ribbon-Smith.
Yeah, she's thanking the volunteers, and we all are so appreciative. Especially, we had a huge group turnout from DLI as usual. So thanks to everyone who contributed this weekend. Mary Lou Blakely, thank you for bringing back my favorite marathon. This was my 10th time. Can't wait to go back again. Does someone who has run Big Sur a certain amount of time get a guaranteed opportunity for entry, or are they still battling it out or crossing their fingers like the rest of the world?
Well, the short answer is not really.
Okay.
So when we've had our random drawings in 2019 and before, one of the categories of the random drawing was a loyalty category for those who had run Big Sur before. And the more times you had run it, the more we weighted your entry. So it wasn't a guaranteed. It wasn't like you're automatically going to get in if you've done 10 or more or 20 or more or something like that. But you had more chances in that category. So that's why I say it's like sort of, but sort of not. There's still a chance that even if you've done it 10 times and only enter the random drawing, you may not get selected. That's just kind of the rules of supply and demand, right? We have much higher demand than we have capacity. And for those who didn't know about that before the race and ran their first marathon, like Ashley Gora who posted a few minutes ago, now that you see the space at the start line, the space on the road, the space at the finish line, and the number of buses and things like that, then hopefully they can understand, okay, now I see why they can't just let everybody in who wants to run.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. It's special. If it wasn't exclusive, it might not be so special, right?
We wish we could. It's just we just simply don't have the space.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're throwing a lot of thanks out there. I don't want to miss Chomp, County Hospital of Monterey Peninsula. Our medical providers did just a fantastic job. They were, we saw them at the finish line, and
We did.
they were there out on the course for the runners, and everybody very well taken care of.
Yeah.
Including a mobile medical team on bicycles. Some of them on e-bikes, which is something that didn't exist 35 years ago or even 10 years ago. But they can zip up and down the keep that one up because I want to have Rudy pronounce his name.
All right.
Down the course
Wilczynski, that one's easy.
With mobile defib teams and different things like that, because again, getting an ambulance or medical if needed is challenging on any point-to-point course, but particularly on this one because of the running public caravans and things on the other lane.
Oh, and you know what? I'm just going to add a little on the name thing to everyone who we were able to welcome through the finish line. We did our best. If we missed you, we're sorry. We did our best. There were so many of you. And if we butchered your name, we're also very sorry. We did our best. We're not linguistic expert, but we sure do love you all. And we try to make each of you feel special. Right, Rudy?
Indeed. We do our best.
Yeah. It's such a privilege. We have so much fun getting to be the ringleaders of all of this.
I'll even admit to it every once in a while. I'll see one and I'll say, okay, that one's yours, Fitz. Who's that?
Hey, you know what? It's such a treat when you get perhaps like an Indian name is often quite complicated and with many consonants. And I love when I say it and the person looks up to me and says, "You got it right." And I'm like, "Yay!" That's my marathon right there.
I remember I actually checked in with someone who was coming in. And she looked up at me. I said, "Did I get it right?" And she gave me one.
Oh yeah, you got to know
one of these.
We'll work on it for next year. But yeah, everyone was. I think we had close to 99.8% celebratory finish line finishes. I mean, everyone had hands up, smiling faces. Marathon Photo is going to sell the tar out of photos because they're, I'm sure, spectacular. Everybody did a really good job with their celebrations as instructed.
Hands up.
That's right. Hands up or else you will celebrate or there will be consequences. That's right. But awesome time, Doug. And we love you. We appreciate you. You're the best of the best.
Well, you two are the best of the best as well. We appreciate you. We love you both. And we're so proud that you're part of the Big Sur Marathon family. And thank you to all of those watching this tonight for your support and patience as we came back after 3 years. And if you haven't run, we hope that you will follow us on social media. Add your email list to our contacts on our website, and hopefully see you at our Monterey Bay Half Marathon in November and the April 30th, 2023 Big Sur International Marathon, our 36th run. That's a lot of THs in one sentence.
We're going to get it right. And their handle on Instagram is at BSIM Events. I'm at Fitzness. Rudy's at Rudy Novotny on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Just find me on Facebook.
Rudy Novotny. Doug, and then if you took pictures, of course you took pictures.
Not too late.
Upload them to social media, tag us, and use our hashtag Big Sur Marathon. Even if you ran the 12K, Hashtag Big Sur Marathon. Not so complicated, right?
All the races. We love all of our runners.
Yeah, we do. We love them all. We want to brag about them. So tag
I
away.
agree with
Tag
you,
me.
Bill. We've got the best team there. No one's better than Team Noisy.
Oh,
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you. We're going to let y'all go, and I think we need to play that awesome video again on the way out. Don't you, Doug?
One more time.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, watch the show.
See you
Here we
again.
go.
We
One more
hope.
time for
Bye-bye.
that,
Play that video.